I am Ari Wickus, and I'm joined by the one and only Oren Glickman. We are here for the Yeshiva League Pass podcast tip-off show number 7. We are excited. This is our first round playoff preview. So much to talk about. We're going to get right into it with our player of the week, Jakey, last name, Oren?
Abenaim.
From MTA, the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Really, really great kid. Just got to know him a little bit before while I was introducing him to myself before the show. And it's going to be a great interview. He's got a great story, and MTA is a great story as well. But before we do that, let's talk about why we are here and the people who make it happen. Our sponsors, Holy Schnitzel. I've talked about them so much. Every time I do, I get hungry. And today is Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm sure Holy Schnitzel is going to be out and about in a lot of homes where you go to celebrate and watch the Super Bowl. I'm sure you'll have some Holy Schnitzel in some of those homes. Again, Uber Eats, all the different apps, all different food possibilities you go to Holy Schnitzel, you come home satisfied. Our next sponsor is, I have a little prop here, Gotta Get a Bagel. I actually stopped there this morning. I got a coffee, and they're more than just a bagel store. They have appetizing salads, sushi, eggs, you name it, muffins, bakery, pastries. They have it all right here in the 5 towns. And they also do catering for brisses, bar mitzvahs, sheva brachos, you name it, they do it. They're a great place. And those are our 2 sponsors, Holy Schnitzel and Gotta Get a Bagel. And we do have a new sponsor coming in the next week. We will talk about that soon. But without further ado, let's bring in our player of the week from MTA, Jakey Alheim. Hello, Jakey. Welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you here. We're going to let you pronounce your name properly because even though you told me it, I'm not good with spelling, reading, or writing. That's why I'm an athletic director. So just welcome to the show. Tell us how to pronounce the name, and we'll get into it, and we'll fire away with our player of the week.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. My name is Jakey Alheim. I'm senior at MTA.
All right. So you definitely got the name right. So we're gonna go with that. So listen, Jakey, unbelievable season, unbelievable story, twofold. MTA coming out of nowhere, and you coming out of the non-Yeshiva league to really propel MTA to this unbelievable season of 12-2, the number 2 seed. We'll get into it. Give us a bit about your story, because you transferred senior year. People didn't know you, but you've taken the league by storm, and now people are definitely aware of you. They know they have to play you very tight defensively. Give us a little bit about your background and how you ended up at MTA and the season that you guys are having.
All right. So, 9th, 10th, 11th grade year, I was in Heichal Torah. Great place. Owe them everything. I wouldn't be who I am today without them. But, that 11th grade year, I was thinking about switching. Didn't really know if it was worth it or not. I spoke to I went to jump shot somewhere of 10th grade, and Coach Joe Schwartz, YU assistant coach, told me to switch. Didn't really know if I wanted to, but at Sarachek this past year, 2024, I spoke to him, and he said, "What's holding you back?" So that's when I put my foot down and really decided I wanted to switch, and this was it. In the summer, I was filling out applications, and I was split between TABC and MTA.
Oh
And I
God,
was very
Oren,
close
cover
to
your ears. Cover your
yeah,
ears, Oren.
I was very close to coming to TABC, and at the end of the day, I'm like, no, it's not the right fit. Although it is a great place, and I ended up choosing MTA. I didn't start
Wait,
playing
Jakey,
basketball.
one quick question to interrupt you. Is it true you chose MTA based on the athletic directors, or no? Was it between? No, I'm joking. All right, go ahead.
um, okay, so I didn't start playing basketball until end of 9th grade that summer in Missouri. I started actually taking it seriously. And 10th grade year, I was 7th, 8th man on a non-yeshiva league team. And then I came back, and I was supposed to be a starter for varsity in 11th grade, did not start. But I did play AAU, started there, averaged not a lot, but and I ended up quitting the Heichal team. Just frustration. I didn't see eye to eye with the coaches, but coming into MTA, I really spoke, and I'm forever grateful to um, Coach Mazdell's, Coach Eshi Sullivan for welcoming me in. I'm a senior guy. I'm coming in who is this kid, and really welcome me into the MTA family. So it really just does mean a lot to me.
Wow. And first of all, it's an amazing story. And I think this is so great to hear on a lot of levels. I think, first of all, the lessons, because look, our audience is, mainly high school kids and younger. And what you said, something that really stuck out with me is that, started playing basketball in ninth grade. You were, a bench player. You weren't getting many minutes, but look, you stuck with it. And now you're the, one of the stars, our player of the week. So you are the star of the MTA Lions that propelled them to a 12-2 record. So I think that just shows your perseverance in things that you do. And obviously, I'm sure that affects your life as well with your studies and everything, your religion and everything else. So just a great life lesson for that. Now to get into the nitty gritty, now that we understand the background, tell us about the change to playing Yeshiva League. I assume since you said you went to Misora for a summer or two, you kind of knew some of the kids, the basketball players who are around the league. What's been the biggest adjustment playing in the Yeshiva League, and what has been the most shocking thing that you just didn't foresee, coming when you entered MTA?
Right. So I went to Yavna till fourth grade and then switched to Noam fifth to eighth. So switching around a lot. But basically, so I wasn't on the basketball team in Noam, but the Noam basketball team was stacked. All of the players, I remember all of the players who were on the team who probably were bench warmers, most of them start now in on the Yeshiva League team. So one of the things that actually stood out to me was, I mean, I know a lot of DRS kids from Missouri. I went there for 5 years, but the height, like the height of people, the size, like also like the crowds, like in leagues that I've played in, it's non-existent. Like, okay, you'll take a lead, it'll be a close game, and it's anybody's game. But with the crowd, with the environment factor, it's really just it's a big setting. And I mean, for me, like I like playing in a big crowd.
Well, you're in a good place because YU has probably the most capacity of any gym around in the Yeshiva League. Oren, what do you have for this professional Jakey?
Yeah, so as Ari mentioned, you kind of been taking the league by storm. Nobody, I don't think you would even know. I don't think any of us know what MTA's JV record was 2 years ago with the team without you, but I imagine it was nowhere near 12-2. Seeing you guys in Memphis, I think you guys were where everybody expected you to be later on in the season, but what did you guys know that like the other league was not aware of in terms of your capabilities and talents?
Right. So coming into Memphis, we were kind of upset with our seeding. We thought that we were going to upset Hillel in the first round, and that was really just not like that did not happen.
And then you made up
Um,
for it a month later.
we made up for it, yeah. I mean, we should have beat them by more, but whatever. It was a good comeback game. So, and then if you, I mean, we made it to Tier 2 championship in Memphis. We were up by 15 in the first quarter to Poznak. We held them scoreless, and then we fell apart. So, I mean, a lot of the league thought that maybe like this year, okay, whatever. They had a good JV coming up. The Chinese came up, Efraim Avramov, Gabriel Engel, Andy Richmond, a lot of great guys. List goes on, but were we really going to be good enough to be a 12-2, maybe 6-8, maybe 7-7, borderline playoffs? But we knew ourselves coming into season after the first practice, not even the practice, the first tryout, we knew that we are a top five team. And I think that even though we had the mentality of underdogs, the underdog mentality, yeah, we still took every game as a learning opportunity. So whether we lost by 30 or we won by 30, we still thought like we're a top five team, but let's just play it cool.
Right. It's interesting. And I think, and look, this is no disrespect to MTA. And it's kind of like what you said, based on, look, a lot of it is, the kids on the team, what they did in JV. You go back a year or two, so you can kind of see how those kids were 2 years ago. Not that kids don't get a lot better, but I think, look, and I think I'm going to say this, I think Oren will say the same. At the beginning of the year, when you look at your schedule and you're like, okay, SAR, win, loss, I don't know. Frisch, win, loss, I don't know. MTA, W, right? When you're playing against them. That based on what it was, I think that's what happened. And a lot of people just said, okay, this is a team that we know that they have some players, but I think you being the kind of the unknown, and obviously you're not going to talk about yourself and how great you are, but obviously Oren and I see it in the league season. You obviously catapulted that team to the capabilities where they could be and where they're going. On the flip side, I think a big thing is I looked at your record, you're 12-2. Talk to me about the game against SAR. I mean, the game we just had. look, your story is great, win or lose, but everyone was locked into that game. You guys can wrap up the 1 seed. It's senior night, a lot going on. And SAR was reeling, having lost three in a row. Tell me about what happened there. Was it just a blip, or what's your feeling on that game? How you guys came out on the short end of that, and now you're heading into the playoffs?
Right. So every game that we take, it's not a tennis match. It's not a golf game. It's not a one-man show. It's a team effort. And that game probably wasn't our greatest. It was at the pinnacle, the peak of our season. Like this was our game. We win. It's 13-1, 1 seed. That's the first time in who knows how long that we would get the 1 seed. And we wanted it, but we didn't want it enough. And they came out on fire, like actually not missing, but that doesn't make up for the sloppy play that we had. So I do think that we deserve to lose that game. I'm going to be honest, but do we think we're the better team? Yes. Do we think we play them again in the playoffs? Will we beat them? Yes, 100%.
Right. So I think a lot of like people were saying, they went from contenders to pretenders, right? Because this was the big matchup. You look at your record, you only beat 3 playoff teams. And look, you play who's in front of you. You don't make the schedule. That's not for you to do, but you take care of business. And I think personally, and Oren, and you can jump in as well. I think the first time that I heard about you guys on the radar is I think you played Frisch in an exhibition game. And before in the preseason, you beat them, and I'm like, okay, exhibition, you don't know what's going on, don't really know many of the players. But then I think your big first victory is you played Frisch at Frisch during the regular season, and you beat them. Or when was it that you saw like this MTA team is we have to start finding out what's going on over there?
Yeah, well, I actually think it goes all the way back to our preseason rankings. I think there were one or two people on the panel who said that we should not overlook MTA, and now lo and behold, you guys have a first round bye. Uh, you know, obviously anybody could beat anybody come playoff time, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jakey, I think it's safe to assume that you guys are preparing as if you're going to be playing Mag and David, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, Josh Shabbat, a player that everybody knows very well. What do you think the game plan will be preparing for a team like that? Defending champions, no less. Josh Shabbat, Phil Scher, very experienced players. Talk to me about that.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not the coach, but I do watch film. Me and Coach Oshie have been going back and forth. I think I've watched 4 games already. And we have a shot tracker. I think I have it. Yeah, this is
Oh my God, it's like a mini poppers here. What is that? That's
no, literally I'll get trolled like fully. You guys can troll me about it, but just shot tendencies. And I mean, Josh Abbott, incredible player, incredible pull-up game. He's a 3-level scorer. So I think if we shut him down and we let Phil Scher put up his 10, 15 points, we let Max Abed put up his 10 points, and everybody else put up their 2, 3 points, we'll end up with the win.
Wow. Okay, this is bulletin board material because first of all, hopefully the rest of the Magan kids, I think they just saw Phil Scher write down 10 points. What is that? Okay, I got to break that, this and that. But also they are playing Hafter, who Magan has beaten Hafter, I think twice the times that they played this season. But I think we all do agree. We think Magan is obviously the favorite to win that, and we'll talk about it as we do our playoff preview. So how do you talk about playing at YU? What is it like? Obviously, if you get to the championship, you'll have an advantage only because you have a familiarity with the gym. But tell us about the success of the YU program. Do you feel that's filtered down to MTA and you're getting people in games and players on the team? What's that environment like playing at YU as an MTA Lion?
I'm gonna be honest. So YU guys, great guys, very nice people. Always look to help other fellow basketball players. For environment wise, let's just say games. We don't have that many fans. Like this is a call to everybody who's watching this. Please come to our games. I mean, we have the potential. We have 300 kids in our school. We could pack the gym and make it loud, make it a good environment. But our games haven't. I mean, in our Heschel game, there was more Heschel fans than MTA parents at the game. So it's a little bit
Well,
embarrassing.
by the
But
way, just shout out to Heschel fans. They travel very well. Okay, I've seen
amazing.
them, and their fans come out, their parents come out. They do a really good job. So don't worry, it's not just MTA. A lot of fans. Heschel is a top 5 fan base.
Right. So, I mean, also for YU environment, being on YU campus, seeing a lot of older guys to mentor you, not just in basketball, but in life in general. And classes, that's great. Zevi Samit, always in the gym. I think putting up 1,500 shots a day, which is crazy. He is a very, very nice guy and a really down to earth guy. And he's always looking for the next learning and teaching opportunity.
Oren, what do you got?
I guess my next question would be, sometimes buys could be very beneficial, and sometimes buys are not great. What are you guys doing to stay busy these next couple weeks?
So we bumped up our practices from twice a week to, I believe, 3 times a week,
Mhm.
as the JV season came to an end. I don't know if a lot of people know this about us, but we only practice twice a week, one time in the YU gym and one time in the den. If you've ever been there,
Right, the hockey
the
team.
ceiling is very, very low. So it's great for physicality. It's great for practicing plays, running defenses. It's also great for running, which we do a lot of. But now we have it 3 times a week as JV practice is done. So Mondays and Tuesdays we'll have Maxton Athletic Center, and Wednesdays we'll have the Den, I believe.
Right. So that is definitely something. So, all right, first of all, I just want to talk about the season you've had. It's amazing, and Oren and I talk about it. Kind of just like we're surprised, but these stories are what make basketball, especially Yeshiva League basketball, so amazing. Your transfer story, you finding a home at MTA, you helping them, get to where they are. So, all these things we're talking about are there's no negativity to it. It's just a matter of the story that came out of nowhere. So it's great. So now a question I've been asking a lot of players. If you've seen the other shows, you may have been prepping, which I hope not. I'd like to get the answers off cuff here. But you're gonna have to play. You're gonna put a team together of yourself and 4 others, Yeshiva leaguers. You're gonna take on the best of the best. You're gonna head down to the West Coast, Midwest. You're gonna go on tour. What's the squad you're putting together? Let's hear that team that you go to battle with.
Right. So I wouldn't be able to take my own team, I'd assume.
No, no,
Right.
you can't take your own team.
Can't take
Yeah,
any
I mean, no,
MTA kids.
you right. We'll put MTA kids on the side because that's always the easy answer, and this way
Right.
we'll focus on the rest.
Okay, obviously first pick. I mean, I'll put me at the 1. At the 5, I put Ayal. Just he's a dog. He's a all-around player. At the 4, actually, let's see. I'd probably go Jordan Cole-Mintz. You guys heard of him?
Yeah, from
Oh
Heschel.
He's
yes. By the
three
way,
three level
excellent.
scorer, excellent ball handler.
Good one.
He's a
Yeah, I
great
was talking
player,
to
and
someone
he's
else.
unheard of.
Someone. I was talking to someone the other day because the All Star email came out, and someone said, "You know who the best player in the league is?" I'm like, "I know there's a lot of good players. I don't know who the best is." He goes, "Jordan Cohen-Mintz from Heschel." I'm like, "Wow." I'm like, "That's the respect he has from a peer." I'm like, "Kid's a really good ball player." So it's good to hear his name mentioned on the show. Continue,
He's
Jakey.
good. He's very, very fundamental. He doesn't settle for bad shots. He could shoot the 3 ball pretty well. Great ball handler too. At the 3, I mean, it's between Shabbat or Segura. I'll probably have to go with Bobby Segura from Ramaz. 3, and he's an all-around player, two-way player, and defense wins championships. So he's very strong, great pull-up mid-range. And then at the 2, Sam Weiss, SAR, also a 3 level scorer, great defender. And all these players, like they could all shoot the 3 ball very well. That's the modern game. They have the pull up, which is the 90s games, and they also play defense. So I think if we take that 5 to LA, we could uh we could make some upsets.
Right. I'm gonna say, and tell me if I'm honest. To be honest, Jakey, you prepared for that question because that was a really well-rounded squad. Yes or no?
The Bobby Segura Shabbat question, yes.
Okay, that's because that's a great squad, and that is I love how you put it together, almost like a coach in his head, right? Putting that team together, the pieces all are cohesive. So that's a great squad. Or do you have anything else? I mean, I think we could talk to Jakey all day, and it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm assuming he has better plans than to hang out with us. But what do you have to close the show with?
Yeah, no, usually close these interviews. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to give special recognition to on the pod?
Yeah. Okay. Got a small list. Shout out my dad, #1 fan of your podcast, screen records all the clips, sends it on my family chat. Shout out my dad for that and for letting me switch. Shout out my cousin Joey Slimnicki, training me to like lift because I'm skinny, but like I put on like 13 pounds since the summer.
Wow.
So he trained me in that. Shout out Josh Truheft. It's not easy somebody taking the number one spot. So I'm forever appreciative to him for that. Like, he came into the season thinking he'd be the number one guy, and then now it's just 1A, 1B. But it's not easy for that. So I appreciate him for that. And then also shout out my coaches and everybody who just welcomed me to the MTA family. And also shout out to you guys for having me on the podcast and just doing the podcast as a whole. It's probably a lot of work, and I am appreciative, and I'm sure everybody else is as well.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I think that's our first ever shout out, Oren. Hopefully the first and last. We do this, and we're happy to do it for you guys. And also I want to give a quick shout out to the athletic director at MTA, who's been all season long. When are you getting one of our MTA guys on? When are you getting? We're like slow down.
About sun and shine.
It's 2 wins, it's 3 wins, it's 10 wins. Okay, we got you. No, but a shout out to him. Yeah, he some of your rabbis, your teachers are your biggest fans, and it's great to see. You don't even know behind the scenes what they do to support their students. So, Jakey, congrats on a phenomenal season. Just getting to know you a little bit here, it sounds like championship or bust for you. That's going to be a successful season in your mind. But as you look back, no matter where you are, this is a great story, and obviously the ending chapter hasn't been written. But congrats on the season you've had thus far, and the success hopefully you'll have in the future on basketball and beyond.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck with the rest of the season.
Wow. I mean, Oren, I don't know if it's like now that we're so far deep into the season that these guys, their interviewers are getting better and better, but like we have to step up our game, because it's like the questions and the responses they have. It's just like you can see Jakey, like what a great, interesting kid, and the mindset. You could just really see why he's successful at basketball, and I'm sure in life in general.
Yeah, later in the season, these kids they grow as players and they grow as human beings too.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great, and it's going to be a great season. But now it's playoff season, right? We are here. I mean,
Playoffs.
Everyone, right? the jockeying for, are you going to be a 6 seed? Are you going to have a home bye? Are you going to play on the road? Who are you going to play in the second round? It's all in front of us. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to just pull up the brackets here. As we know, we'll start with the Eastern Conference, where the 1 and 2 seeds are the DRS Wildcats at 13-1, North Shore Lions 10-4 are the 2 seed. The first round matchup, the first game is going to be Magen David, the 3 seed, taking on Hafter. This game is going to be happening on February 12th, which is Wednesday, I believe.
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday. So hopefully this show will be released before the playoffs. Otherwise, any prediction we have we can just change and make it right, but that's another story. So this is going to be a game where we've seen twice already twice or 3 times. They may have even played in the Magen David tournament. Hafter has not beaten Magen David. Very underwhelming season for Hafter. Snuck in. They had to wait for a Rambam outcome to determine if they made the playoffs, which is almost impossible to predict. But they snuck in as a 6 seed. Once you're in it, you're in the big dance. Anything can happen. And I can tell you this, and I know some of the kids on Hafter, none of them are intimidated by Magen. And I think this year, in general, a lot of people look at Magen as a team that is beatable, as Jakey kind of laid out point by point how to beat them. Hold Josh for 30 or less, and then the other guys are just going to score 10. I'm not saying I agree with that. That's for Magen David's bulletin board, but the defense, what you have to do. You have to stop Josh, and good luck with that, because even when you stop him, he elevates and makes shots and makes plays. And Hafter is led by Ness Salem. What do you see? What does Hafter do? And I think, and then I'll put like a point spread in my mind on this, but what do you think Hafter has to do to have a shot at winning this game at Magen David?
So I'm going to compare this matchup to the Frisch TABC matchup a couple weeks ago, where TABC was heavily favored over Frisch, and Isaac Stepner dropped a 30 bomb to ultimately lift Frisch over TABC. So I think if if Hafter's going to have any shot of pulling off the upset against Magen, and by the way, Hafter's thinking revenge, because let's remember, Magen knocked out Hafter last year in the playoffs. But I think if Hafter's going to have any shot of pulling off the upset, Ness Salem will need to drop 30-40.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think Ness Salem gets his points. I think it's a matter of the other kids stepping up. I think Nate Meyer, his brother, Asher Freundlich. Asher Freundlich he's a sophomore playing varsity. Had a solid season. I think what can be expected as a sophomore, if you're not Isaac Stepner, you're not 6'3", a big kid. To transition to varsity basketball as an undersized player is very difficult. But I think he's had a solid season. I think it's going to be more the supporting players that are going to have to to really step up to make it, because I think like Ness can get his points. He'll take a lot of shots to do it sometimes, but I think it's those other players. I think the spread on this game is probably Mag David is -9 going into the game. That's again, it could be a close game, but ultimately I think that Magan, between the home crowd, the experience of the players, not just the coaches, because obviously Joey Hody, Spike, Benny, Mozart, they all have a big game experience. But I think the experience of the Magan players is what's going to propel them, stay focused on the job at hand, get it done. And I see it being a close game. Halftime, I could even see Hafter leading by a point or two. But I think in the end, Magan wins it. And if a -9 is the spread, I think it's right around there. They win by like 10, 11, and they pull away in the fourth quarter. What do you see on this game?
Yeah,
as far
I agree.
as the outcome?
I would say maybe 61-48 Magan.
All right, there you go. We are in agreement. That is the game that we see. And if Magan wins, they'll go on to face the aforementioned MTA Lions. So, right, exactly. I can't wait. We might have to bring Jakey and Josh on for the next episode to see if.
Listen, Magan love playing at the MSAC. They won a championship
exactly.
last year.
Right,
they're playing Saratech final. They're no
very comfortable playing there. So that is there. We're both in agreement on that as far as the 4-5, a 3-6 matchup. The next matchup in that division is the 4-5 matchup. This is a Brooklyn brawl. You got the Flatbush Falcons as a 4 seed taking on the YDE Thunder as a 5 seed. Obviously, this game will be at the Triangle Gym at Flatbush, which also, quick shout out, is going to be the home host of the All-Star game this year. The commissioner looked at 42 locations in Flatbush, won it with a $18 million bid for the second year of the All-Star game. That's a joke. No one bids. They're just offering their gym. So this is going to be a big game. This is Flatbush hosting YDE. They played earlier in the year at least once. I'm assuming Flatbush won, or I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but I think this is going to be a close game. This YDE's a team that I don't think they've been healthy all year. I think they've had some kids in and out, because when I saw them in the preseason, I thought they were going to be a really strong team. And then I heard that they lost some players to injury. They just got back a kid. You know the kid who just came back from injury?
Yeah, Zakaria played very well in the Rambam game, right?
Yeah. So I think that was a player that was out a little. So maybe they are rounding into form here at full strength. Flatbush is led by Ricky Haddad. He's a superstar player for them. They have a really strong team. There've been a great coaching job by Matt Malk with the injury of Sammy Jamal, as we talked about. I think this game is a spread. Flatbush is probably favored by 7-8 points. I think 7 points, and I think it's going to be close throughout. And I think Flatbush wins this game by 4 or 5 points. I think actually the spread is YD covers the spread, if that's how you say it. But I think the spread is 7, and it's going to be a 4 or 5 point Flatbush victory. What do you see in this Brooklyn game?
Yeah, well, there you go right away. The one advantage of YDE have is that there'll be no travel hangover. They're right there, so that'll benefit them. Flatbush is playing really good basketball right now. Even in their last loss in the regular season against Magan, they were up for the majority of the game, I believe. It was only the fourth quarter where they blew that lead. So Matt Malk has them playing extremely well right now. And I'm going to go back to what we said about with Magan Hafter. I'm going to go with the playoff experience. Flatbush will survive this one, move on to the next round. I think they'll win by more. I think they'll win by maybe I think they can win by 15-16, actually.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm only going on the Brooklyn aspect of it. Like, these guys all know each other. YD comes in like, we're better than them. We play ball at the center with these guys. We know we can play with them. They're not a better team. I think talent level, probably Flatbush is like you said, could win by that. But I just feel like this playoff intensity in Brooklyn, they're going to have a lot of YD. YD is a good fan base as well. Yeah, I think it's going to be, they're going to get energy from the crowd. But yeah, I think it's going to be a 4 or 5 point game, but the spread is probably around 7. So there you go.
So assuming those matchups go the way we anticipate, that would set up Mag and David at MTA and Flatbush at TABC.
Correct. That would be in round 2. Now we're going to shift over to the Western Conference, where you have the 1 seed, TABC Storm, who should be sending thank you letters to the SAR Sting for helping secure that 1 seed as they beat MTA. And MTA, the number 2 seed at 12-2. So both those teams are going to be watching these first round games. The first matchup is we'll go with the 3-6. This game is a rematch for the 4th time this season. Is the SAR Sting. I'm sorry.
No, the Hillel Heating.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah. The Hillel Heat are the 3 seed at 11-3 or 10-4. I don't know
11
the
and 3.
record.
11 and 3.
11-3, and they're taking on the very dangerous Frisch Cougars at 8-6. This is a 3-6 matchup. This game is in Hillel. It is also on Wednesday. Going into this game, obviously Frisch is at behind the 8 ball because they have to take that long road trip. Going down to Hillel is definitely a commute to get there, and Hillel is going to walk into that gym very well rested, fresh, knowing the refs very well, and all those other good things that the Hillel Heat, like to take advantage of. And it's going to be a good game. This is a rematch. Hillel did beat Frisch in the regular season, but I think that this game is, and I think we spoke about it offhand a little before the show. I think this is a game where Frisch can win, and I think Frisch has full confidence they're going to win. Hillel is obviously the higher seed. They're playing at home. They have Eli Braha, Segura, Terran, a lot, Bruce Epstein, Tobias. I mean, again, I think I just went 6 players, and they're all really good ball players. That's the kind of team they have. I think that the Isaac Stepner show is coming, and I think that TABC game and just having him on our show. Well, having him on our show is not going to elevate his play, but I'm saying getting to know him and the confidence he's having in his game, I think he's really going to be stepping into his own, no pun intended, Stepner. And I think this is, if you look at it on paper, it's probably Hillel is a 4-point favorite. I think Frisch is going to win this game. And I think really, on the shoulders of Isaac Stepner. I mean, he is a guy to stop, and I don't think he can really be stopped by one person on Hillel. And I think when he plays really well, Schachter, Reich, Milgram, these other kids really have an ability to kind of settle into their roles. And I think Frisch pulls the upset in overtime against Hillel in a classic game, 62-60, something like that. What do you see happening in this game?
That would really throw the bracket into a tailspin. That would mean the Frisch goes to DRS in the next round. The only thing I'm confident of, I'm not confident making a prediction, even though I still will make a prediction. I believe this is the game of the round.
Yeah, agreed.
I really believe this is the game of the round. Hillel finally got that statement win last week against SAR. Because
a full strength SAR. Ari Halper was back, scoring 25 points.
Correct. I think you and I have been very critical of Hillel not being able to get that statement win up until last week. I think the travel factor will have an impact on Frisch. I think the fact that it's in Deal will benefit Hillel immensely. I think this will be a really good game, and I think Frisch will be very close to pulling off the upset, but Hillel survives, in my opinion.
There you go. Okay. I don't know. I'm just swayed by Stepner's game and what he did against TABC, and it was almost like, I mean, you don't have a quiet 30 points because I know he scored like I think the first quarter was all points by Stepner, but I just feel like the moment is not going to be too big for him, and I think the level of confidence that he has right now to be one of the best players in the league is something that is going to help.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see how many Frisch fans travel from Paramus for that one.
Yeah, I don't think Frisch travels that well as far as a fan base, especially when you're going to Hillel. If they were going to SAR, Ramaz, TABC, somewhere DRS, I think they would get a nice, decent crowd. I don't think, and it's no knock on Frisch. I think it's any school. It's a long trip to get there, to watch a game, and then to have to come home and you're not playing. So it's a big to do. So we'll see. But Hillel will definitely have a nice crowd at hand. And then the last game of the first round, and this is really the last game because of the SAR winter break. This is the 4-5 matchup. The SAR Sting taking on the Ramaz Rams at SAR. This game will be February 20th, as SAR has the winter break. I'm sorry, not winter break. They have the President's break vacation. So this is going to be a little later on. This will be the 4th time that these teams have played SAR beat Ramaz handily in the Magen David preseason tournament when they surprisingly were at full strength with Isaac Ohayon. And then they lost the subsequent 2 games in the regular season, one with Ari Halpert, one without Ari Halpert. So I don't know if you can look at much of the history of these games to determine what's going to happen here. I'm not going to give a prediction on this game, obviously, because of my close ties, but I can still break it down and give you what I think are the keys to the game. I think, like I said, I don't think the prior games are going to have much to do. I think these guys know each other very well. The coaches know each other well. The players know each other well. A lot of them are friends with each other. You see them talking to each other before or after game. It's going to be, I assume the environment at SAR is going to be really, really strong. It's going to have a nice attendance. It might even be a doubleheader with another game. So I think the environment actually helps Ramaz because they already went through that at Sting Night when they played SAR and they were victorious. So I think when you go on the road, and we talked about this with some of our players, they say they prefer playing on the road because you have the energy of the other fans. You have you want to silence them. And I think that part is going to, not really be a negative for Ramaz, if anything, a positive. I think the key to this game is going to be the Weiss Halpert show.
Yeah.
Can they play together and get their points off each other as opposed to your turn, my turn? What do you think about this game, and what do you see as we forecast it?
Yeah. So while I will give a prediction, I want to be clear that either team can pull off the win here. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong.
Right. I was going to even say, to interrupt you for a second, because I think if you say the spread, it's SAR -3 based on their home court. They're favored by 3.
Yeah.
Probably
So
my guess.
I still believe the Frisch Hillel is the playoff game of the round, but I believe this will be the most tightly contested game, if that makes sense. I think SAR will be thinking about Sting Night, and the fact that Ramaz came down and really ruined it for them. And I think they're going to have the will and the tenacity to prevent that from happening again this time in the playoffs. And I think SAR pulls this off here.
Yeah, and I think, look, SAR is, if they do pull it off, they're going to go, and then they're going to play DRS in the next round, which they're going to be completely confident about because they've already beaten DRS, albeit on a 1-point game. But SAR is not your regular number 4 seed.
Yeah.
They have championship aspirations. If you ask them before the season, if you ask them now, championship or bust is probably what they anticipated coming into this season.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any secret in that. But I agree. I think it's going to be who has the ball last, who makes the biggest shots.
Yes.
Foul trouble could become key. If Segura gets in foul trouble because he plays, like Jakey said, he's such a tenacious defensive player. If he gets in foul trouble,
how many shots does Sugar get off?
Right, exactly. And it's funny, coming into the gym, and I've said this before, you got to stop Sugar, right? These SAR Ramaz teams have played each other since freshman year, but Sugar still gets his shots off. It's a matter of, who's going to, probably the defensive end is going to determine this game. Who hammers down the defensive side of the ball more so than the offense. You're going to get points. It's going to be in the 40s, 50s, and it's going to be a dogfight. And I think I'm happy I don't have to give a prediction. Obviously, I know who I'm rooting for, but it's going to be a tough one. So to recap, we have our first game, Hafter Magan. I go about -9. Hafter is the underdog. We both pick Magan to win and cover the spread. The next one we went was with YDE Flatbush. I said, and again, these are just my predictions as far as point spreads. I said about -5 is Flatbush YDE is the underdog. I think that it's going to be. I said it's going to be a close game. I don't know if I said they're going to flat spread or not, but you think YDE is going to pull away, win by double digits? I think it's going to be single digits in this game. Right, exactly. Flatbush will pull away, and then Frisch Hillel. I don't know if I think, did I give a spread on that?
I don't believe so, but you have.
I don't believe so.
The upset.
Right. I said Frisch in overtime, but I think Hillel is favored by 6 points. As far as this for the spread for the game, I think Frisch wins in overtime. You believe Hillel hangs on to win in a close game, and then our final one, SAR favored by 3 against Ramaz. I'm not picking. Think it's going to be a close game, and you believe that SAR wins probably 3 points or so in that range.
So if my predictions hold true, then that would set up SAR at DRS and Hillel at North Shore.
Hillel at North Shore, and Frisch would go to where would Frisch go to?
Oh, Frisch will go to DRS if you were right, and then the winner.
Right. Oh, right. Forget about all that. Right. I forget. We all pick different things. So, right. The thing to know, and mostly if you're watching this podcast, you probably know it. The only time you reseed is a 6 seed beats a 3 seed in either division. If that happens, then they play the 1 seed in the other round. That's pretty much it. I think this is exciting. We're gonna come back for the next round. We're gonna have a player of the week based on what happens in this first week of matchups. We may do a show potentially, probably before the SAR Ramaz game, because that's not until February 20th, and today's February. So, right, give or take, we will probably, depending on when the games get played and everything. But this is it. This is playoff basketball. This is the fun part of the season. It's going to be great. I want to thank Holy Schnitzel, Got to Get a Bagel, for their sponsorship throughout the season. This is Yeshiva League Pass podcast, tip up episode number 7. And also special shout out to Jakey, last name?
Abenaim.
There you go, from MTA, cool customer, really great interview. Happy we were able to celebrate the success of MTA. And for episode 7, I'm Ari Wickes for Oren Glickman. Have a great playoffs, and we'll see you soon. Yeah.